Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. It's been far too long since I've done an update on what's been going on with me and the RC600, but I've been busy prepping for and doing a bunch of gigs, so that's been pretty good. And it's also given me an opportunity to sort of figure out what's working for me with the RC600 and how to set it up. So I thought I'd give you a rundown of what I've sort of settled on for the moment as far as my pedal board setup goes. Like any good guitar player, my pedal board setup is in a constant state of flux, but seems to be working for me at the moment. So this is a shot of the setup at a recent gig I did. So you can see that I've got the MIDI controller set up on a stand beside my pedal board. I've got my iPad sitting there full of lyrics. And then, of course, down on the floor, I've got my pedal board with the RC600 and all the associated pedals to go with it. So I'm just going to walk you through signal flow and show you how things are working here. So I've got my board set up here on the bench here in my studio so I can sort of point out where things are going. First of all, the signal starts underneath the board where I have a wireless receiver back here. I like to use a wireless as much as possible for several reasons. One, when I'm usually doing these kind of looping shows, I'm mixing myself. So I like to get out and walk around the room and sort of see what's happening and hear the mix throughout the room so I can make adjustments as needed. So that's really handy with a wireless. Plus, having a wireless means less cables on stage, which means less stuff for me to trip over. From the wireless, I go into this little mini volume pedal, which I happen to have kicking around. That's a volume/wah, which is a great little thing. It's actually a really good sounding wah, to be honest with you. And it's a quick mute for my guitar. And from there, I go into the OC3. As I explained in my last video, I'm not entirely happy with the octave feature on the RC600 as it does not have a polyphonic function. You can't set a range on it, so that's why I'm still using the OC3 because it's the only thing on the market that I'm aware of that will do that. This is where I split the signal because the OC3 has an output for just the straight guitar sound and then just the octave sound. So the guitar output goes from the OC3 into this drive pedal. Now this is the one thing that sort of keeps switching out on my board quite a bit, but right now I'm really liking this Black Star LT distortion. It's giving me all the good feels right now. Sometimes I'll have a tube screamer in there, sometimes I'll have an ST1 or a full tone or something, but right now the Black Star is really kind of working for me. I think it's a very underrated pedal, to be honest with you. And I use that instead of the built-in drive on the RC600 simply because I'm using some of the effects blocks in the RC600 for other things, which I'll get to in a minute. So from there, it goes into input 1 of the RC600. And the octave pedal output goes into input 2 of the RC600. So it doesn't go through the distortion pedal, plus the fact that then on input 2 I can actually add an EQ inside the RC600 to EQ the bass sound by itself, give it a little more punch. I particularly find that with acoustic guitars, the bass sound out of the OC3 is a little wussy, so it needs a little bit more punch, so I like to EQ it on its own, and that way I can also EQ the guitar and the bass separately, which is a really nice thing to be able to do. And then I've also got available on the RC600 is the 2 mic inputs. Now that's really nice to have because when I'm doing a solo show or even a duo show, I can run my vocal mic directly into the RC600. I don't do any vocal looping myself, but I can still use the vocal input, bypass the looper with the vocal mics all together, and that way I can use the RC600 as my mixer as well. So all I got to do is run everything through here, straight out the DI into the front of house, and I'm done. And I don't need anything else. That's kind of really cool. And I've assigned an EQ to each of the mic inputs so that I can EQ the vocal mics differently if I need to, depending on who's singing. And it's really easy to get into the mixer section of this. If I have to make any adjustments, all you got to do is hit the enter button and boom, there's your mixer right there. And I can set all the different levels, scroll across, and I've got main out, sub outputs, loop outputs, and all the stuff just readily available. Okay. So that's kind of a cool feature. So I don't have to bring any external mixers. Now where things get really cool is I've got over here a MIDI pad controller, which is playing the drum sounds from the RC600. So I'm just going MIDI out to MIDI in on the RC600, and I use this to play the drum sounds, and I can actually loop those. So I can create my own drum loops on the fly. I don't have to be stuck with what's built in internal into the RC600. And I've got a couple buttons up here assigned because I use track 3 as my percussion track. I've got this button here assigned to go into the record play mode just by hitting it. You can see. And then it'll go into overdub. And away you go. And I can hit stop button, and I've got this button as an undo redo, and this button is an all clear. So I can wipe it all out and start over again. So I'll show you how that works. If I just want to start playing, so there I've got a basic drum loop going, and I can add in my hi-hats. And if I don't like that, I can undo it and try again. And there you go. And then I can erase it, start all over again from scratch. Now I've got, I've got kick, snare, I've got my hats, I've got a shaker, a tambourine, some flaps, bongos, and some congas. So that's the basic setup as it sits today. Now I'm going to do another video where I'm going to take you through a more intense look at how I've got the RC600 set up internally and all the settings on there. But for now, I'm just going to leave you with that, and happy looping, everybody.